Good evening, Scouts and Scouters. I'm happy to announce that tonight we are able to bring you Troop 170's second virtual troop meeting. As this virus is on the regression across our state and across our country, we hope that we'll be able to meet in person again soon. But as for tonight, the Scouts will be discussing emergency preparedness and how to be ready in case of another emergency. We will also discuss, briefly, a return to knots, lashings, and tools, topics that we began to discuss back at our September troop meeting. Thank you all for your continued support of our troop and our nation, and for working together to stay home and stop the spread of this virus.
Stand for the flag salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. 2.
Scout signed. Scout oath. On my honor, I'll do my best to do my duty, to guide my country, to obey the Scout law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight. 2.
Now we are going to talk about emergency preparedness, or EPREP for short.
But what is emergency preparedness?
The term refers to the steps you take to make sure you are safe before, during, or after a natural disaster or emergency.
How can you be prepared for an emergency?
Simple. Make a kit and a plan.
If you go to www.ready.gov/kit, you can find a complete FEMA-approved list of what you need for your EPREP kit.
After you are done making a kit, you must make a plan in case of an emergency. How would you do this?
You need to plan with your family. If something happens and your family can contact each other, you must make a plan on where to meet.
But keep in mind that in different situations, you may need to meet in a different place.
This is what a complete EPREP kit and plan looks like.
Over here, we have enough food for each person of our family for 3 days. It's non-perishable, which means it won't spoil, so it doesn't have to be refrigerated. We've got dried food and canned food. That's why we have a can opener. And we also have a mess kit, so we can eat. We also have food for our pet cat. Here we have water for each person in our family for 3 days. 3 gallons per day per person. We also have our first aid kit, of course. In case it gets cold, we have a sleeping bag, warm clothes, and matches to start a fire. We also have a change of clothes. Over here we have our essential electronics, batteries, flashlights, a hand-powered radio, and we've also got a battery pack that's rechargeable, so we can charge our devices like telephones, cell phones. Over here we have personal hygiene and sanitation. We've got toothbrushes, toothpaste, soap, it's all the stuff you would use in the bathroom. We've got paper towels, toilet paper, a disinfectant / or bleach. We've also got garbage bags. To be prepared, we have a 100-foot rope, a tarp, and duct tape in case we need to throw together a shelter made out of sticks and other materials you can find in the forest. We also have a pocket knife so we can sharpen sticks if needed to put in the ground. We definitely don't want to forget these essentials. Important documents, paper and pencil to write stuff down. We also have a whistle to call attention or call for help. We have medication for anyone who might take it in the family. And we've got money. Last but not least, we have a book and some board games so you don't lose your mind. I'm pretty sure this covers everything. Oh wait, forgot. I've got a bow and several sharpened sticks to fight off the zombies.
Hi guys, Luke here. A quick editor's note. When you're packing for an emergency kit, one important thing to remember is items that are going to be specific to your family. Things like medication or an inhaler that are specific to people in your family are very important to remember when you pack for an emergency kit. Alright, back to the video.
Make sure that your family knows where the kit is and that they know what to do in case of an emergency.
And that's all you have to do to be prepared for an emergency. Now let's dive in a little further to discuss the different cases more specifically. There are countless types of emergencies that may require you to act quickly, whether it's a natural disaster, another pandemic, fire, man-made emergency, or anything that could put you and others in danger. It is important to know how to act. For tonight, we'll be skipping over the majority of the first aid portion of this since we discussed it in our January and February meetings.
The first steps in preparing for an emergency is setting up a plan to deal with it. Outlined on the left is our plan for dealing with a natural disaster where we cannot evacuate.
An emergency plan outlines 3 specific categories: when, where, and how. When to evacuate or begin to act, where to meet after or during the emergency, and how to prepare for or deal with the crisis.
2012, when Hurricane Sandy devastated the Jersey Shore, thousands of residents were stuck on Berry Islands as miles and miles of traffic kept the residents from being able to evacuate.
When? When is a critical question in preparing for evacuating for impending natural disasters.
More sudden emergencies such as fire, tornado, medical situation, car crash, etc. The when is as soon as possible. Take action quickly in order to make an impact of the situation minimal.
At the first sight of an impending storm, such as a hurricane, it is important that you are able to get out in time. Move quickly and make sure everyone is accounted for. It's better be safe and take action quickly before it's too late.
Where is the tougher question to ask? This can vary based on the type of emergency. Where during a natural disaster is as far away from the impact zone as you can get, where during a fire could mean a meeting place outside of your home in your yard or your neighbors. We'll talk more about this as we discuss individual situations.
This is the most complicated part of the 3 parts. We'll use the next portion of our meeting to discuss this.
We'll start off by making plans to answer the questions of where to go in case of an emergency.
For a hurricane, planning a safe escape route is just as important as finding a place to go. A safe escape route is often a large public roadway and the fastest route away from the impact zone.
Most coastal areas are designed for evacuation routes and flooding, hurricanes, and other disasters. Follow the routes for a hurricane evacuation.
Once you are safely away from the impact zone, find a place to stay during the storm, and long-term if necessary. A relative's house, hotel, or temporary relief center are all great options for temporary accommodations.
After the storm is over, only go back to the impacted zone if it is deemed safe by authorities. Fallen trees, power lines, and other debris can be potential hazards.
That brings us to our next topic, flooding. For this emergency, preparation must happen quickly, as floods often occur quickly and unexpectedly.
For a flood, the best place to go is up. Whether that means the 2nd floor of your house or the roof, stay as far away from the floodwaters as possible.
Floodwaters can often contain chemicals, floating debris, and may also conduct electricity from contact with electrical circuits.
If you can, turn off the main breaker or any other natural gas feeds in your home to reduce the risks of hazards. Only do this before floodwaters start to rise.
While they're not common here, tornadoes can pose lots of dangers. For a tornado, seek shelter low to the ground, such as a basement.
Stay in place until you are sure that the tornado has subsided or moved away from your home. Wait to assess the damage until it is safe.
Wildfires are the most common in western states, where rainfall is less. However, they can happen anywhere.
Evacuation procedures are like that of a hurricane. Make sure to have a safe escape route planned and be ready to move quickly, as wildfires can spread in a matter of minutes.
Although it may be hard to do, leave all non-essential possessions aside. Time is of the essence. Move quickly.
The last natural disaster we are going to touch on is earthquakes. Earthquakes are often sudden and leave no time to plan accordingly. Very dangerous.
For an earthquake, seek shelter from fallen objects under a strong piece of furniture or in an earthquake shelter. A car is never a good place to seek shelter.
Obviously, we cannot anticipate the exact scenario of every emergency, and it is impossible to plan perfectly for every different one. So make sure to assess the situation accordingly and use common sense in dealing with it instead of trying to be a hero. Leave the rescue to the professionals.
Our next portion of the meeting will focus on knots, lashings, and tools. When in the woods, hiking, camping, or setting up an emergency shelter, knowing how to use the tools and knots we are going to show you is a great advantage.
Before we learn any knots, it's important to understand the different terminology. Now I'm going to read off my script here because this is a really long line that Patrick thinks I'm going to memorize, but we all know that he has unreasonable expectations. The first term is running end. This means the end of the rope that is used to tie a knot. This end is also called the working end. Next is the standing part. This means all the rope that is not running, that is not the running end.
The term overhand loop means a loop in which the running end of the rope is on top of the standing part.
Underhand loop refers to a loop in which the running end of the rope is on top of the standing part. A bight is a U-shaped formation created by doubling back a length of rope alongside itself.
The eye of the rope is the space enclosed via loop or bight. A turn means to wrap the rope once around the pole or stake. Friction created by the turn can help you control a line that has tension on it, especially if you're letting line out or taking it in.
Hitches refer to knots that secure ropes, to a pole, or other stationary objects in a bed. That refers to a knot used to join two ropes.
The last term is dressing, not the stuff you put on your salad. Dressing refers to adjusting knots so that everything is in place. This usually means pulling each strand evenly to tighten it. Dressing a knot ensures that the knot will work as expected. The three knots we will discuss are basic ones, required for scout rank. The square knot, 2/2 hitches, and the taut line hitch, which took me like 3 years to learn.
A square knot can be used to join two ropes together to create a longer length. To make it, follow the pattern of left over right and then under, and then you're going to go right over left and under. This knot should be used with equal sized ropes. It should look like this.
The next knot is a taut line hitch. This knot is our first example of an anchor knot and can be used to hold down a tent flap, for example.
To tie this knot, bring the running end around your anchor point. Create an overhand loop once on the inside and twice on the outside. Fish the running end through the eye of your last overhand loop. This will allow the rope to slide tight on your anchor point only if you move it.
Now, if you're looking for a knot that will tighten automatically, you can use the 2/2 hitches. This knot is similar to a taut line hitch. However, the knot will slide when you move it.
To tie it, repeat the first steps of the taut line hitch. Run the end around your anchor and create the first overhand loop around the other end of the rope. Notice that the running end is on the side of the anchor point. This is important. Loop the rope back up and around your standing point and create another overhand loop, this time on the outside. Done.
The taper hitch is the perfect knot to use when dragging logs. Pass the running end around a log and loop it around the standing end. Twist the running end around the standing end a few times and pull it tight. Yes, this is a real knot.
The clove hitch is almost always used as an anchor for lashings. To tie it, create an underhand loop around the pole and cross it back over itself. Create an overhand loop, but fish the running end through the eye before tightening. When you are done, it should look like an X.
The bowline is one of the most versatile knots. It creates a fixed loop in a row and can be used in anything from guy lines to water rescue. The knot is quick to make, and once you get the hang of it, it's quite simple.
While a square knot can be used to tie two ropes of the same size, a sheep end can be used to tie almost anything together. Make a bight in the large rope and fish the smaller running end through the bottom of the eye. Move it around the back of the larger rope and under the smaller rope on the return.
Can I get you anything to drink, sir?
Dry martini. Shaken, not stirred.
Yes, a necktie is also an important knot, the most common of which is known as the Windsor knot. Now I guarantee 95% of you don't know how to do this. So here.
Put a tie around your neck, lining up the break in the fabric and the thinner end. The thinner end should be on your right side.
Place a long end over the short end, creating a V. Then run the long end in a loop over the short end, keeping the knot flat. Run the long end so that it is backwards in a mirror, going over the top of the loop. Run the end so that it sweeps over the front end of the tie. Loop it back through the bottom of the hole and inside of the knot. Adjust the tie so that it is tight and the knot is dressed.
Now that is all the basic knots we will be discussing tonight. Now we'll focus on some lashings that can be used to build awesome camp gadgets.
Before we can discuss lashings, we need to touch on the ethics of pioneering. Pioneering is one of the coolest parts of scouting and can be used to create some awesome structures.
The ethics of pioneering are important so we can minimally impact the environment. For our troop, we try and only use logs and branches that are already on the ground or dead. We also try to only harvest live logs off of Mr. Connick's property because we have permission to do so.
It's also important to only build on durable surfaces, not fragile environments. This helps protect plants and animals and is also safer. It also means less footsteps and often less work when moving materials.
There are three important tools when talking about lashings. The first two, pull and frap, which are self-explanatory. However, the third one is a new word. Unless you're talking about Starbucks coffee. A frap turns between two poles and goes around the wraps to pull them together.
The main types of lashings we will be discussing are square lashings, diagonal lashings, tripod lashings, round lashings, and floor lashings. Most or all of these lashings will be used on our North Halen Day project this year.
A square lashing is the most basic lashing. It starts off like all lashings with a clove hitch near the intersection of the poles. With the poles forming angles, loop the rope around the poles in a square, crossing over and under each pole like this. Make about 3 to 4 wraps.
After that, frap the lashing between the pole and pull tightly to secure the lashing. Finish off with a clove hitch on the top pole and half hitch or two for extra security. This will create a strong joint if done correctly.
The next type of lashing can be used to secure two poles that don't line up at 90 degrees. A diagonal lashing starts off with a timber hitch near the intersection. Wrap the poles in a diagonal. This will create an X pattern layering the ropes. Finish it all off with a clove hitch.
Tripod lashings are used for making a tripod. Really? Tie a clove hitch on one of the poles and line the end up next to them. Intertwine the rope between the 3 poles several times and finish by frapping in between both joints. Tie into the clove hitch.
Round lashings are the simplest of lashings. They're used to join 2 poles together. Start again with a clove hitch. Then make several very tight and neat wraps around the poles. Finish with a clove hitch. There are no fraps in this round lashing.
Floor lashings will tie down the top of a table, raft, bridge, or platform. They aren't meant for a lot of structural integrity other than holding things down.
Tie this lashing with the clove hitch before the first pole. Then weave the rope over, under, and across. Over, under, and across, and so on. Continue this pattern until you reach the end of the platform. Finish with a clove hitch on the stringer.
Those are all the basic lashings that will come in handy. These are several variations of them, so use what is easier for you to remember.
Now, tools can represent just about anything you use. A pocket knife is just as much of a tool as a computer is. For this segment, we'll focus on common campsite tools other than knots and lashings. Our summer meetings will go over household tools and how to use them.
The most common campsite tool is the pocket knife. If you've earned your internship, you're aware of the safety rules, so we don't have to go over that again.
Now, tools can represent just about anything you use. A pocket knife is just as much of a tool as a computer is. For this segment, we'll focus on common campsite tools other than knots and lashings. Our summer meetings will go over household tools and how to use them.
The most common campsite tool is the pocket knife. If you've earned your internship, you're aware of the safety rules, so we don't have to go over that again.
A pocket knife is a true multi-purpose tool with countless uses. Pocket knives come in hundreds of sizes, colors, lengths, and with many useful achievements. Make sure to pick one that will best suit your needs as a Boy Scout.
Recommend the basic pocket knife at least. The blade should be durable and fit the palm of your hand. If you can spend a little more, I recommend a multi-tool. A basic one should include a caliper, a flathead, Phillips head screwdriver, and an awl.
A good pocket knife shouldn't be an expensive one. Pocket knives are inevitably bound to get lost at some point when hiking or camping. Spend a reasonable amount of money on your first knife and learn how to use it correctly before buying a new one.
Next camp tools we will be talking about are saws. The two main types of saws are folding saws and bow saws.
Folding saws are better for clearing brush and small branches from hiking trails and fire pits. Bow saws are better used for cutting larger logs and branches, or firewood or pioneering projects.
With any tool, proper care is important. For saws, this includes maintaining a sharp blade and keeping it dry. For safety, keep the blades covered in their sheaths when not in use.
Campsite saws should be used in a designated axe yard with gloves and eye protection. Make sure to maintain a safe distance away from other as well. Just like a pocket knife, a saw should never be used as a dull blade with dull blade.
The next group of tools fall under the axe category. Mauls, splitting wedges, hatchets, and the axe are all similar in style, but meant for vastly different uses.
Mauls and axes look remarkably similar. Their differences come in the size and weight of their cutting head. A maul is heavier and wider and is meant for splitting logs.
Splitting wedges look like a maul without a handle. They are used for splitting bigger logs and are meant to be hit with a sledgehammer. Several can be used together.
Good evening, Scouts and Scouters. This concludes our emergency preparedness meeting. Let me say in closing that emergency preparedness is not all about the equipment. It's more about a state of mind. You have to be prepared to alter your course, to adjust to circumstances in front of you. Sometimes, and anyone who's been in this troop for more than 6 months can tell you, the best laid plans just go all asunder. You have to be able to adjust and to adapt to the given circumstance. Being prepared means learning the skills learning the abilities, and learning the positive mental attitude that can bring you through any emergency. God bless you, God bless your family, and God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much.
As a scouting family, we are challenged each week to find new ways to continue scouting efforts at home. Who have continued working on merit badges, rank requirements at home, keep up the good work. We hope to meet all again in June for a June troop meeting.
As for other troop news, our t-shirt order forms will be available soon. This way, you may purchase them in time for summer camp. We're sticking with the maroon color again this year. Our June end-of-year party is still scheduled for June 24th. We hope to see you there. Also, if you haven't signed up for summer camp and still wish to do so, please contact Scoutmaster Dvorak.
Lastly, thank you for our leaders tonight. Thomas, Riley, Robert, James, and hey, the best one, the one that does the video, and myself, yeah. Thank you to our writers, Thomas, Patrick, and James, our editor, Luke, and to Mr. Frank, making this possible. Thanks, guys.
Scout sign, Scout law. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. And handsome.
Will the great Scoutmaster of all Scouts be with us till we meet again?
Missed.
Troop is dismissed.
Missed.
Thank you for joining us for our second virtual troop meeting. If you liked it, please give us a thumbs up and consider subscribing to our YouTube channel for future meetings. For more cool videos, pictures from our favorite camping trips and events, and information about the troop, head to www.t170.org.